as this world becomes a lot more difficult for folks financially or whatever it is, like you have to have people to rely on. And I think that one of the reasons that DSTs are important is because they keep the family together.
2, 1. Welcome to the Entre Podcast. Today we are in San Antonio, Texas, at the 35th Outlook of Texas Land Markets put on by the Texas A&M Real Estate Center. I have my good friend Cameron Rafati here.
Cameron Crafferty.
Cameron Rafati. Did I say that right?
Cameron. Be funny if people call me Cameron.
Really? Huh.
That's not bad. Cameron.
No.
It's unique.
Yeah.
Not as unique as Babella.
Yeah. Weird names here. Anyways,
Cameron and Bubrella.
This guy's a lot of fun, by the way. I have a lot of fun with Cameron. I got to know you, 2 years ago?
Yep.
Came into Schulenburg, Texas.
Oh, beautiful Schulenburg, Texas.
Yeah, we had a great time. Went and had some Mexican food.
Beautiful.
And over the course of getting to know Cameron, just a really fun guy. And he's actually an artist, too. If you've never heard of Cameron before, he came up with a famous song put on, was it by Apple?
No, I use Crayola and I use Xerox paper. I'm a very good artist. I'm real good at those crayon arts, whatever you want to call them.
Oh my gosh.
My mom puts them on the fridge.
Yeah.
That's my son. That's my son, Cameron.
Anyways, he really is an artist. It's hard to get it out of him. He won't talk about it, but he came out with this song called Apple Pie, and Apple used it as one of their theme songs for, was it the iPhone or the
iPhone 6S? It
Okay.
was the most used song in Apple's history up to that point. I don't know, it was about 2015, 2016, but I don't know if there's been more songs used in Apple, but it was a big deal back then.
Yeah, big deal. Well, I think it's a great claim to fame for you.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, I think so, maybe.
So Google Cameron Rafferty and plus, Apple, and you'll see the songs. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Cameron, I just want to kind of talk to you to our listeners today, about what a DST is and how did you, from an artist how did you get into the real estate DST industry? What happened? So,
after I got dropped from Universal, I was kind of spinning around for a few years trying to figure out what to do with my life, because I've been a singer a lot of my life, and I got heavily interested in Bitcoin, as most normal red-blooded American men have gotten at some point in their life, under a certain age. And I became obsessed, and I thought, well, I'm not doing anything with my life. Maybe I just start building Bitcoin mining data center facilities. I don't know why I did that. So in Rockdale, Texas, there's a data center facility that was the biggest Bitcoin mine deal in probably the whole country at the time. And I said, okay, I'm gonna go live in a single wide next to the data center in Rockdale, and I'm gonna work as a factory worker, basically unplugging Bitcoin mining machines, which are like this big and about 40, 50 pounds, unplug them, put chips in them. I was kind of out of money at the time. After taxes, living in California for a little bit, your money's gone.
Yeah.
From everything. It's like everybody's trying to attack you for your money out there, including government. And so I was out in Texas and I fell in love with Texas. I'd lived there in Austin when I was a kid, but it wasn't really a Texas experience. Rockdale was definitely a Texas experience.
For sure.
And so I was sitting in the mine one day, and I call these the mines because if you're in a Bitcoin mining facility, it's like a football field long deal with about probably 30,000 of these machines racked up, probably 40, 50 feet tall. And I was looking at these machines, I was like, why are people spending billions of dollars in this business?
Yeah.
Well, it's to fractionalize assets. Okay, well, why can't you fractionalize real estate? Because I'd been a broker when I was younger, and how do you, millennials and Gen Z and now the alpha kids are coming up, and they're not going to be able to afford any real estate. So how do you fractionalize real estate like you can fractionalize Bitcoin? Well, I slowly started finding out that there's something called a DST that could do this. And I got the inspiration of that idea in Rockdale, working in that facility.
Wow. Okay. Love it.
So
It's a great story. So if you're listening, a DST it's short for a Delaware Statutory Trust, and I don't know how I got that name, but it's
the dumbest name
Yeah.
of all time.
But-
I mean, I always tell people it's the dumbest name for the smartest sounding.
right.
It's a dumbest sounding name for the smartest strategy probably landowners could use.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what a DST does, let's say this is a piece of real estate, say it's 100 acres, and you've owned that 100 acres all your life, and you've got very low basis, and you've got a high value, and as soon as you sell this asset, you're going to be taxed.
Mm-hmm.
And what a DST does, usually there's a thing called a 1031 exchange, but usually you can 1031 to a like kind, so other real estate, right? But what a DST does, it allows you to sell 1031 avoid taxation and put into a DST, and a DST is a fractional, like you're talking about.
Yep.
It could be apartments, it could be office buildings, anything of that nature. It could be oil and gas,
Yep.
right? So you avoid that taxation. You can invest for cash flow. So if you've got a plan, let's say you're an older person, you're like, I don't want to get back into real estate. I don't want to have that burden, just the nuances that go on with buying real estate too sometimes, right? You have management and all these things, and you just want more of a passive deal. And even for your kids, let's say you have one piece of property, but you don't know how to divvy that up with your kids. You could do a DST, and each kid gets a portion of that investment, right?
Separately, so they don't have
Separately.
to fight over the land. What's happening in Texas a lot of time these days is families will give their kid, grandma, grandpa will pass, the kids will get the land, and then all siblings, some of the siblings don't want to run the ranch, some do want to ranch, some do want to farm, some don't want to farm. Majority don't want to farm because there's no money in it. And prices are going up. For folks to go into 55 plus communities, it's getting more expensive every day. Medical expenses are going up, food expenses are going up. It's getting harder for a lot of these families to afford to live and hold on to this $20 million piece of land when nobody's making any money.
Right.
And so, with the DST, kids can actually inherit that wealth in a divided manner, so they can actually see their brothers and sisters for Thanksgiving, Christmas, things like that down the line. And nobody's talking about money. They get their little share separately, and they get the step up in basis, which I always tell folks, you don't have to pay capital gains when grandma and grandpa pass. Once they go to heaven, they pass everything to everybody. The government goes, I'm sorry for your loss. You don't owe capital gains taxes on any more of that land. And a lot of people don't understand in the DST, it's the same way. Mm-hmm. They get the step up in basis, meaning the government gives you you don't have to pay those taxes card with the DSTs as well.
Right. I think what's very powerful about the DST is it's passive ownership. It's fractional ownership of institutional real estate. So you're still in the real estate game.
Yeah.
And there's no management responsibilities.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it very powerful. I think a lot of people are just like, I don't want to trade this for another farm that I have to manage. Now you can trade this, avoid taxes, doing a 1031 into a DST. And there's options out there, right? There's different kinds of real estate. So figuring out if you want to be an industrial, you can own an Amazon warehouse, you could own all kinds of stuff out there. So figuring out what you want to invest in, and through you can make that happen.
It's diversified too. So everyone asked me, I had some farmers ask me the other day when we were presenting up in Lubbock, they said, what's the risk? And there are risks to it. But before I get in the risks, when you diversify your real estate holdings into 8 different properties, 8 different types, 8 different property managers, that means that the mailbox money you're getting coming from owning a sliver of each one of those properties is now de-risked, or the risk is minimized because you now own multiple properties. But if you're sitting on a piece of land somewhere and it's sitting over a aquifer, and that aquifer's run out of water, your whole land is subject to risk because of where it's sitting. But DSTs allow you to diversify. It's very similar to, why would you buy just Tesla or just Google? You're going to buy 10 different stocks to diversify that portfolio, and that's a nice thing about those too.
Yeah. So DSTs are really great for estate planning. They're good for income replacement. They're good for avoiding forced sales too, which I need to talk about too, and it simplifies multi-heir ownership. But avoiding the forced sales, I want to talk a little bit about that. So, me being real estate, of course, I would love for you to go sell your land and go buy some more land because that means I make money. I'm not going to make money on a DST with this guy because it's not a brokerage activity of going to buy land, right? You're buying an income stream through a DST. But anyhow, avoiding forced sales. So when you're selling this 100 acres for, you're going to 1031 into other real estate, you have 180 days to accomplish that goal, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you lose your ability to 1031. But if you're estate planning, let's say, okay, I'm going to sell the farm, or I'm going to sell whatever, and a DST allows you to plan better. You're not forced to find something in 180 days. You can already start talking to this guy, hey, I'm going to sell this next year. I want to start talking to you about DSTs. Mm-hmm. And as soon as that ranch sells, you're not going to forced to go find something, hustling to go find something to replace it with. You've already got a replacement through a DST.
And we can close within a couple days.
Right.
Now, some DSTs are really popular, so they'll be gone by the time you close on that ranch. Mm-hmm. Some DSTs, everyone wants to be in them. They're good deals. They're whatever reason the market says, everyone wants to be in that DST.
Yeah.
We have them close and we have them start every month or every other month. So, but if they can't find their up leg, what do you call those on up leg properties? I call them up legs. The next property you're going to 1030 would change you?
Yeah. If your replacement, your property.
If you can't find the replacement property or that deal falls apart and it's within those 45 days, you can execute on a DST portfolio of 5, 6, 7 properties. We could help you close on that within a day, right before you hit that 45 days.
Absolutely.
And that's the nice thing about DSTs, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, very good. So I kind of want to talk a little about you and your company, how all that came together.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
I was with another firm before Iron Ridge, and had a pretty good year. Majority of our deals were in Texas, and I just kind of had a different vision of DSTs. We're pretty big on, I know this sounds stupid and Pollyanna, but the reason I got in this business is because my mom and her 2 sisters fought for 15 years over a $300,000 piece of property in my grandma's. Mm-hmm. My grandma passed away in 2002. DSTs, the IRS gave DSTs the blessing in 2004 as a replacement strategy. So my grandma passed before our family could have used this idea, and my mom and her, they're fine now.
Yeah.
But for a long time, like it was
credit issues,
huge issues, over a few $10,000.
Yeah.
And so what I've realized was I'm very close to my family. On the other side, and that side, I'm a lot closer now. I'm realizing, well, as we get older in life, like at the end of the day, like a small amount of friends we have and our family are the only thing that matters to us. And then we're gone from this planet. Mm-hmm. And so I thought to myself, well, why would you have a family break up? Why would you have these relationships that you've built? Like you've built your whole wealth through grit, and now because you're just not wise enough to keep your family together after you're gone, a lot of folks don't care what happens to their families. But as this world becomes a lot more difficult for folks financially or whatever it is, like you have to have people to rely on. And I think that one of the reasons that DSTs are important is because they keep the family together, because we're humans and we know that when we start involving a dollar in our lives, in our friendship, I don't do business with my best friends. Some of them I do business with. I've known them since I was kids, but at a certain point, like your family gets destroyed if you have a deal that goes bad. And there's decades of time that's been ruptured. So the nice thing about a DST and the vision that Jim Perry, my partner Jim, and he's been in the business for 40 years. He's a senior advisor. I'm kind of a newer guy. I've only been in the business a few years.
With big personality though.
Yeah, huge personality, obviously. Big old head, weird name. I can sing, I think.
Yeah, he sang the national anthem today, this morning, open up for us.
Yeah, it was scary. Can't mess up the national anthem in front of Texans.
Right, yeah, that'd be bad.
But yeah, that was a vision. I wanted to create that with Jim, and we wanted, we're very landman, Taylor Sheridan type of artistic kind of folks. So we wanted to create something that we think that could preserve families over time ultimately. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it, but it's nice to wake up with a purpose and look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, this isn't just about money. Like maybe I could do something for humanity for the last few years before this big ox goes.
Yeah. Well, another thing too, I know I had a seller last year that they wanted to they had to get this price because they already had written out how much each grandkid was going to get, and they had to hit this price. And I tried to tell them, like, listen, I know you want to give each kid this amount of money, but I can't hit that price. Like, I cannot sell that asset for that amount of money because the market is just not there right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And they want to give them cash and all that, but like, if you could literally, instead of giving those grandkids cash, you could sell that property, 1031 it into a DST, and give those kids that passive asset. So now it's not cash. Now you got the cash plus the residuals that are going to spit off. So they would have gotten a lot more money doing it this way, those grandkids.
Warren Buffett always said, don't spend your principal. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Don't spend your principal. Well, your principal is the value in the land. You're just getting a return off it every year. Spend the return you get.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't touch the principal of that land.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're essentially preserving the land in the form of wealth.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily own that land anymore.
Yeah.
But you're preserving it in a way.
Absolutely. How did y'all come up with the name Iron Ridge? I really love the name Iron Ridge Advisors.
So, so there's this. So I'm originally from Utah. Well, I was born in Colorado, but I'm originally from Utah. And there's this mountain. I was trying to figure out when I left the last firm I was with. I was trying to figure out a name, and there's this red mountain I was looking at.
Okay.
And I was like, why is it? Oh, it's because there's so much iron in it.
Yeah.
That's an iron facility.
Okay.
And I was like, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And growing up around Utah is all red rocks.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
it was a ridge, and
it was a big ridge, and it just looked like, I'm like, that looks like a logo.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's an Iron Ridge.
Yeah, cool.
And I thought to myself, this is so cheesy. Can I get into this?
Yeah.
I thought back in the day, if you had high ground as a cowboy, you knew that you wouldn't be invaded by the tribes.
Yeah.
If you had high ground, you can shoot everyone coming up, or coming up the side of the ridge. And I thought, well, that's kind of a nice thing to. Although I'm not a cowboy, I mean, I'm pretty much all hat, no cattle. But I think my heart.
That's my saying.
My heart has always been kind of a country singer, and so I've always had that romanticism, that hero kind of propensity to be that kind of guy. I thought that I could see these cowboys on the top of that hill looking over people's financial and family prosperity as they kind of get into the sunset of their life, and I'll be there one day. And I'd like somebody like myself looking over me when I'm at that age. And I figured, okay, well, let's just start now. Call it Iron Ridge, help people out, sing national anthems.
I love it. Well, Cameron, I really appreciate your time today, and I love doing stuff like this to help educate our listeners, our clientele, and all this. And so I invite you all, if you're listening to me talk to Cameron today with Iron Ridge Advisors, if this is a concept that you know of a family member or of a friend that they're in this situation in their life where they're trying to tax plan and all this, this is a very good solution for a lot of families to live a legacy, to not only to, you've already created a legacy, you've done the work, you've built this, but to sustain that legacy for generations to come through a DST is a great opportunity for folks. So thank you very much for listening. And how do we find you?
IronRidgeAdvisors.com. We're on Facebook. We're also on Instagram if anybody's on Instagram. But yeah, just reach out to us. My number, you can call me on my cell. It's should I say my cell?
Yeah.
It's 801-935-1014. Just call me.
And he's running an ad right now, which I really love, and it says, "Quit being the underdog and be the dog who bites."
Wait, you gotta add the.
What?
Oh.
No, I'm not doing that.
Quit being the underdog. Be the be the dog that bites. Oh.
There you go.
Be the bog that cramorants.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's a great ad, by the way.
That's the
worst. It's something I saw, and but anyways, I'm the dog who bites now by bringing great resources like you to the table for our clients, and so.
It's been a pleasure working with Chip. I just want to say, this man had some fun. We went to dinner last night, and he woke up and he ran this morning. He's doing better than all of us, and he still had a couple bourbons in his system, and he still ran. So I feel very fat and insecure today because of his dedication and discipline. But work with Chip. I love this man.
Okay, it's awesome. Hey, thanks for your time, brother. And big guy, big personality, and a lot of fun, and just has a big heart too, that's what I love about you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
You have a great day.